So I just started recording. So welcome to everybody that is watching the replay. Welcome to everybody here live with us on Blab. We have almost 40 people here. Is that some sort of a record actually? Aren't we usually hovering around 20 or am I forgetting? I don't know. This is
higher once, but
are we okay? I don't know. That's a pretty awesome number, 39. And then we have crawling up to 600 people that are watching. And what that means is they have not registered with Blab, but they're hanging out and what we have to say. So hello, everybody. Hello. So I'm Lee Harris, certified aromatherapist and founder of usingeossafely.com. And I'm here with Daphne and Christy, who helped me admin the Using Essential Oil Facebook group. So hello, everybody, and we thank you so much for joining us for our weekly essential oil mini course on using essential oils safely. And this mini crash course is for anyone interested in learning more about essential oils. Each week we take a look at one essential oil or blend. We started with clove. Last week we did aphrodisiacs, and this week we are doing Helichrysum, which I'm so excited about. Some people pronounce it Helichrysum. I think it's okay, whichever way that you choose to spell it or say it. Actually, there's only one way to spell it. Pronounce it is the word I'm looking for. It all means the same thing. So we're going to be reviewing the therapeutic properties, the benefits, and show you ways to use this essential oil with your family safely. And we'll be opening up a Q&A at the end. But if you want clarification on something that I said within the topic that you may not understand, feel free to post your question in the chat area. You can type \Q in the chat, and that will pull it over for us as hosts. We get to see your question right over on the left. I'm not sure if everybody can see that or not, but it helps us to really get those questions right in our faces so we can see them and answer them. So I am recording this. I will upload it to YouTube when we're finished so that you guys can review, and for anybody who missed it, that they can review as well and learn along with us. So before I get to the benefits, I want to begin by explaining that essential oil is not just one ingredient. I kind of explained before that just like cake is not one ingredient, it's made up of eggs, flour, butter, etc. Well, essential oils are made up of what's called constituents, and there's dozens and sometimes even hundreds of these constituents that make up the essential oils. Now, scientists and researchers have actually studied many of these constituents and have been able to determine how they affect the body. Some of these constituents are beneficial, and that is where the therapeutic properties come in. And some can cause adverse reactions, such as skin irritation or phototoxic reactions when exposed to the sun. But Helichrysum actually doesn't have any of those, which is really, really awesome. So the sum of those constituents is what actually makes the essential oil, and how to use it, and if there's any caution involved in constituents specifically. So fortunately for us, Helichrysum has no safety concerns, but we do always want to dilute. As with any essential oil, it's always best that we dilute. So hello. So we're going to go ahead and review the therapeutic properties really briefly. I'm going to give you just a few of the therapeutic properties that Helichrysum has. For more information, you can go to usingeossafely.com/heli, H-E-L-I-E-O. And some of the therapeutic properties that Helichrysum has is it's antifungal, it's anti-infectious, anti-inflammatory, which is huge on anti-inflammatory. It's also osmotic, it's expectorant, it's a nervine. So there's a lot of therapeutic properties that Helichrysum has, and most essential oils do have several therapeutic properties, which is really great because if you're dealing with more than one type of issue, if you have nerve pain along with inflammation, those tend to go hand in hand, etc., then you can choose your essential oils that way. But that's Helichrysum is really, really great for those types of issues that have to do with the skin. So from those constituents, what we can do is then turn them into benefits. So if we know that Helichrysum is anti-inflammatory, then we can put a name to that and say, you know, this is really going to help with muscle inflammation. This is really going to help with inflamed or red skin, etc. So I do have an image on that post that lists the therapeutic properties for you, as well as an image that lists what Helichrysum can help benefit. Now, some of those are things like arthritis, and that's where the anti-inflammatory part comes in. It can help with swollen lymph nodes, colds and flu. We already mentioned the inflammation of muscles or tendons, congestion, asthma, acne, eczema, bruising, wrinkles, scars, and more. So those are just some of the ways that Helichrysum can help benefit. Now, along in this post, along with those, we also have a chart for safety. Now, again, Helichrysum really does not have a lot of safety issues. It is safe for dogs. It is safe for children to inhale and to use topically. It is safe if you're pregnant or breastfeeding. You can also use it. But it's not safe for cats. And that is because there are no essential oils that I am going to tell you are safe for cats. And if you want to know more about cats, you can go to usingeossafely.com/safecats and read more about why I do not recommend essential oils for cats. So does anybody have any questions so far about either safety, property, before we go ahead and talk about ways to use Helichrysum? Does anybody have any questions? What makes it expensive? That is a really great question. And I'm not really sure exactly the answer to that. It typically, when essential oils are expensive, it has to do with not much of the essential oil coming out of the plant matter that is steam distilled or cold pressed, but typically like with jasmine and rose, it's very difficult to get oils that extract out of those plant parts. It could also have something to do with, did you see that, Daphne? They were asking why Helichrysum is so expensive. Yeah, it could just be that there's just it's not as prevalent as we would like it to be. That is a really great question. And I'm actually going to make a note because I would like to research that a little bit and find out exactly why. That is so
I wonder if it could have something to do. I think I read there are over, I could be wrong, so don't quote me, but I think I read there are over 500 different kinds of Helichrysum. So it could be with so many different kinds, it's hard to grow large batches of the same kind or find large batches of the same kind depending on, you know, if you're farming them or wildcrafting them or whatever. I've noticed that Aromatics International doesn't even carry some of the kind that we would normally use. They carry different kinds. Not that that really has changed the expense much, but it might be easier to source other kinds. I don't know. I just wonder if that has something to do with the price because there's so many different kinds.
And I think probably the supply is rather limited as well. It may not be something that can be grown a lot of different places. So it just might be something.
From Australia? Am I wrong?
I'm not sure about that. No, Fregonia is. That's what sticks in my mind about pretty much always in Australia.
Well, we've been talking about it all week.
I know. Actually, I can look up really quick and see. I want to say it's like Italy or something like that. Let me see. I don't know. Let me find really quick. There was a couple questions while I'm looking for this. If you guys could check out really quick what I missed. A couple of questions. For some reason, I can't seem to scroll when I miss the question. Let's see.
Eden's Garden comes from France, so I guess I'm wrong about
I was going there. You're 2 clicks ahead of me. Okay, France.
I'm more confused about the type. Some are more expensive than others, confused which to purchase. Oh, okay.
Right.
Okay, I'm going to screw up the Latin names, but there's Italicum and Splendidum. I probably murdered those, but
yeah.
The latter is far cheaper than Italicum, which is, I think, the most popular,
Yes.
most commonly used.
Yes. I only have experience with the Italicum, and it is really, really awesome. The Splendidum is also good, but I have never compared them side by side to where if I have a bruise, I haven't like applied one to one side and one to the other to see really like which one's really working. You know, if you want to go ahead and try the Splendidum one and see how that's working for you, and if it's working great, then wonderful. I personally only have the Italicum. I feel in doing my research that it is a better species, but that's just in my opinion of my research.
I think I'd like to try it. You know, I'm wondering, okay, this is where I got the 500 species of Helichrysum. Sorry to interrupt you. It's from Eden's Garden, and they say it grows 2 feet in height. I wonder if it takes a long time to get big enough to harvest, and maybe that's...
It could be part of it. I know there's something, and I cannot remember, and I don't want to say because I'm not 100% positive.
I know, I'm just throwing darts in the dark.
Okay, Joan is saying one reason it's expensive is the growth of the flower is erratic. Yeah, that makes sense.
Why can't I find it in EOS? Is there a different name?
Under Immortelle.
Immortelle. No wonder. I was trying to look it up, and I think it's not there.
I know. I totally freaked out the very first time I tried to look it up.
Okay, now I see
you have to have it. It's like essential oil, and I was like, you totally have to have it. I say it's my favorite, but I have so many favorites. But really, Helichrysum is awesome. It is just plain awesome, and I cannot wait to get into how to use this because it's totally awesome. But yes, so flowers and leaves is typically what is used from the plant. So yes, the flowers, if they're not very prevalent and they only bloom once in a while and you have to catch them and all, yeah, I can see how that could be difficult. For sure.
Yeah. This question, I can see it can be used for coughs and congestion. Is it the best oil for coughs?
Okay. No,
a week.
It is not the best oil for coughs. I suggest for coughing, fir, spruce, pine, cypress, sandalwood, fregonia, peppermint for kids over 6, eucalyptus, rosemary for kids over 10. It is not the best for coughs and congestion, but it will work. If you have, actually there's some other issues too that it can help with. If you have allergies and a cough, Helichrysum is also good for allergies. Helichrysum is good for, let me see, yeah, any type of that bronchitis stuff. And that stems from, it's an anti-inflammatory, antispasmodic. So, it can help in conjunction with others. I would definitely add it. I personally would not use it on its own unless that's all you have, then go ahead and use it. There's probably others that will work a little bit better, but it's great to use in a blend. Just purchased Italicum. Do you know anything about this one? Yes, that is the one, the main one that we're talking about right now is the Helichrysum Italicum. Go ahead, Daphne.
Jump back on the congestion one really quick. I think there are certain oils. I think you and I were talking about this with the fregonia. If you really like the smell of something and it has those properties, you can include that in your blend, because anytime you like the smell of an oil, it's going to help you just because it's relaxing and uplifting. If you enjoy it, you're going to just feel better just on that note. So, if you really enjoy the scent of Helichrysum, go ahead and throw it in your anti-congestion blend. It's going to help. So,
right. And someone's asking, the heli I have comes from Corsica. Corsica is in France, right? I seem, or am I totally, I don't know. Help me here, but I seem to think that that's either in France or right around France. And so that could be correct, where, the origin is often from France. I believe Corsica, I'm not great at geography, but I'll throw it out there, and if I'm wrong, hey, but yes, it can come. I know somebody else mentioned Italy, and there was another one, West Africa or something. There are several places it comes from. So, I mean, that's just the way it is. And as far as where is the best place for it to be from, as far as I know, France is ideally the place you want to get it from, but it doesn't mean that other places are bad. If you are able to check the GCMSs for the different countries and you're able to check out the constituents, then you can decide, you know, which country you might want to go with. So that's kind of a personal decision. They are all very therapeutic. And okay, so I already went over.
Open to look up in EOS. Does he have a list of?
Yes. Yes.
Of what?
Well, I was going to say a list of where to source it from, but also the best constituent ratios. I'll grab mine. I just didn't want to stand up without.
Yeah.
Open. Yeah. Okay. So it looks like the A-pinene should be around 20% in the Helichrysum, and this is for the Italicum. Now, if you, and also there's curcumine, I could be pronouncing that wrong, should be around 10%. So if you have essential oil safety, you can look up in here and see what the general constituent ranges are, and they should be fairly close. If you're 5, maybe even 10 points off on some of them, it may be okay, depending. If you're like 20, 30, 40% off on stuff, then yeah, it's probably something you want to pass on. There's a Helichrysum Italicum with a subspecies of Italicum that has a whole other set of constituents, which is really interesting. And the Splendidum is actually not even listed in here. But you can go to edensgarden.com. They do have GCMS reports for their essential oils, and they are high quality, and you can check out their GCMS reports and you can compare them to other companies and see how they compare, and you can go from there. So we talked about safety a little bit. Thank you, Charlotte, for the very nice comment. We did talk about safety a little bit, and I just wanted to mention that there is no topical max for Helichrysum. However, we always do want to dilute, always. So we can go as high as we need to within reason, but generally you're probably going to benefit anywhere from between a 2 to 5% dilution. There's generally not much need or reason to go above a 5% dilution, and Helichrysum is expensive, so you really want to keep those dilutions low enough to be effective for you. So yes, Mad Science GF says probably expensive because it's only distilled from the flowers. The flower part of the plant is really small. Using the plant for herbal use, you can use leaves as well. Yes, and some essential oils, some Helichrysum essential oils are actually distilled from the flowers and the leaves. So they do combine those parts. It's really, really interesting. I've heard claims of people putting it on a bruise and it going away in seconds. Yes, you probably heard that from me. That happened to me more than one time. Yes, I love it. I cannot wait to talk about bruises. But first, let's start with Christy. Why don't you let us know about the Helichrysum Hydrosol real quick? We generally aren't going discussing hydrosols, but I know you have a really great testimonial with bruises and Helichrysum Hydrosol.
Yes. Yes. Last summer, I managed to get a huge, bigger than I've ever had before bruise on the back of my leg and another one around my knee. And I had read somewhere to mix the Helichrysum Hydrosol with aloe vera. So I did that, and I used a small travel size bottle, and I ended up using Helichrysum Hydrosol and lavender hydrosol. I did a quarter of each and filled the rest up with aloe vera, and I bruise, and they last forever. These bruises went away so quickly. It was like every day I woke up and looked, and it was better than it was the day before. So, and the hydrosols are a much more economical way to buy it than buying the essential oil, and you still get the same therapeutic properties too. So if you can't afford the Helichrysum oil, essential oil, look into that, because I was impressed.
Well, I just want to say technically the therapeutic properties won't be identical because you have the water soluble therapeutic properties, and you have the oil soluble therapy. But you get the same benefit as what you're saying for bruises. Like for you, it works just as the essential oil, which is really, really awesome to know, because I have never tried that with the Helichrysum Hydrosol, which I do have. I've just never tried. It never dawned on me. I was thinking more of using the Hydrosol for topical skin issues, like maybe acne or, any anti-aging or something like that. So it's really, really, really great to know that you can use the Hydrosol for bruising too. Because
yeah, it is great for others. I basically have used that same blend now for, scratches or any kind of little skin issue. It makes a good first aid blend, I guess you would say.
Okay, a Hydrosol, you can go to usingeossafely.com/Hydrosol, and you can learn all about Hydrosols. We're trying to really stick to the essential oil, but we just cannot help talking about the Hydrosol a little bit. But it's basically in a steam distillation, you put the plant matter in there, and when you're making the essential oil, you have the oil floating on the top of the remaining waters, which a lot of people used to throw out. But fortunately, people are realizing that those remaining waters, which people used to discard, are actually therapeutic as well, and that's the Hydrosol. So you have all of the water-soluble therapeutic properties and constituents are all in the waters. And some of them may be similar, and a lot of them aren't to what is found in the essential oil. But as we discovered, it still helps with bruising, which is really super awesome. So there's a question about hydrosols in the eyes. I don't recommend you putting them directly in your eye, but it's totally safe to use around your eye. I haven't personally used them like as an eye wash in my eye, like on my eyeball. If you do, I'd probably want to dilute. I generally don't recommend diluting, but I probably would doing it that way. But I use hydrosols. I spray them directly on my skin and on my eyes and around my eyes, and that works for me. I missed a couple. Are you guys able to scroll up to find those missing questions? Because I can't seem to do that. I feel bad when there's a whole bunch. If you guys can type the \Q, that will put your question right over on the left, and then I can scroll on that side, but I cannot.
Nina wanted to know how often Christy applied.
Okay, thanks.
Oh, I missed that one completely. I applied at least in the morning and in the evening, because I'm not always home in the middle of the day to do it. So mainly when I could remember. I did even one day take it to work with me so I could apply it during the day, but mostly morning and evening.
And then there's, what about using it, I'm assuming hydrosols, for an irritation or maybe just Healy oil from contact dermatitis? I'm new to essential oils. What would be the oil I would mix it with, please? Okay.
Yes.
Oil.
That is definitely good. Either the hydrosol or the essential oil. Yes, absolutely. It's great for all skin irritation type issues. And that is, I'm going to be, after we answer these questions, going through an alphabetical order by body system. So skin is at the end. So we'll be talking about bruising and topical skin irritations and stuff then. But yes, and I'll give you my recipes for those as well. So yes. So a quarter cup of each Heli and half a cup of aloe.
That was
I think this
too. They said a quarter. They said a quarter what? So the recipe is what, about half, or a quarter of each of the hydrosols and then half aloe, right, Christy?
Isn't that what you did?
Yeah, not a cup. It was just, I used a small flip top bottle from the travel section. So it was whatever size it was. I can't remember, but it was a quarter. Yeah, quarter of both hydrosols, and then so half aloe.
One
part to 2 parts. Yes, that would be right. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Are there any other questions we missed? I'm really frustrated that I can't scroll up and see, because a whole bunch plugged in at once and I missed them. Please post again.
I think there's a misspelling here. It may supposed to be mean oils, but it says what EPs are best to mix with Healy for nerve pain. So I think oils.
EOs. It's probably just supposed to be EOs.
Oh yeah.
I see that. On its own for nerve pain. clove is also good for nerve pain. I mean, there's a lot of different ones that can be good for nerve pain, but Helichrysum is great. It'd be like one of my top 3 for nerve pain, just on its own. So, where congestion, it's not really typically one that I would like be my top 3 would be Helichrysum for congestion, but it is good for it. But yeah, for that, definitely Helichrysum for nerve pain would definitely be one of my top 3. So it's really not necessary to blend it if you don't need to or want to. Yeah, it's not necessary. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and talk a little bit about using Helichrysum essential oils for the circulatory system and arthritis, which a lot of people may not understand is a circulatory issue. Helichrysum is good for arthritis and poor circulation and varicose veins. And so I think my recipes are, yes, they're basically the same for all 3 issues. So if you want to help remedy this, per ounce of carrier oil or lotion, you can add, for an adult, between 18 and 30 drops of Helichrysum, and that will give you between a 3 and 5% dilution. I recommend you begin with a 3% dilution, so you can add 18 drops to your carrier oil or lotion. This is per ounce, and you can use it that way. And if it's just not quite getting it for you, you can go up to 30 drops, and that will give you up to a 5% dilution. And I also, on the link, I also have dilutions for younger children and older children, basically 6+ months and 6+ years. And those will obviously be lower dilutions. I'm recommending a 0.5 dilution for the 6-month plus age and the 6+ year age between a 1% dilution. Yes, yes, I do have, thank you. I do have all of these for you. I will be putting them on Pinterest, so if you can follow us on Pinterest, you can find those there. I'll be putting these on Instagram throughout the week as well, and they're all nice little images for you so that you can pin them and share them and write them down. So that would be helpful for arthritis, poor circulation, and varicose veins. And you can add that again to your any kind of carrier oil that you like, your lotion, and there's various dilutions that you can use for that. Now for allergies, what I recommend is adding 15 drops of Helichrysum to a personal inhaler, and you can use that as needed. For children under 10, I generally recommend that you add only 10 drops to the inhaler. You know, it's not anything to be afraid of if you've already used 15 and your children have used 15 drops. It's like no big deal, but you know, just to be a little bit extra safe, I generally say go ahead and do 10 drops instead of 15, but it's not a huge issue. You can go ahead and use 15 for the whole family if you want to. It's no big deal. You can alternately, you can add 5 to 10 drops to your diffuser, and you can diffuse for 30 to 60 minutes on and off as needed for allergies. For swollen lymph nodes, I also recommend the 3 to 5% dilution that I gave for the circulatory issues. And you can add that. I have the recipes per ounce just to make it easy. If you want to use it in a roller bottle, then you can go to usingeossafely.com/dilute. And over there we have tons of images, and we have an image for a 5 ml roller bottle, 10 ml, and 20 ml roller bottle. The math won't work quite well for the 6+ months, where it's only maybe a 0.25 or a 0.5 dilution unless you use the bigger size roller bottles. But you can go ahead and follow that link for more information on diluting for other sizes. And if you have any specific questions, you can ask those as well. But most of these are just for the 1 ounce, just to make it easy for everybody to figure out. So that's for swollen lymph nodes. And you want to apply it, all of these you want to apply to the problem area as needed. So if your swollen lymph node is under your arm, then that's where you want to apply it. You don't want to apply it to your feet. If you have circulatory issues in your legs, that's where you want to apply it. You don't want to apply it to your feet. That's just not going to give you the best benefit. Let's see. So muscular system. Is there anything Helichrysum can't do? Let's see. I don't have anything for digestive issues with Helichrysum. but I'm sure it probably could also benefit digestive system. I was realizing that earlier. I'm like, okay, so I totally skipped digestive. So it's really not known for necessarily for digestive issues, but it's super, yes, you can use it for varicose veins. Absolutely. If I had to pick one body system that Helichrysum was the best for, I would say the skin. It's awesome for skin health, but as you can see, it's also great for tons of other body systems as well. As is normal. Cold sore, you can try it. I generally, for cold sore, recommend tea tree and sandalwood, but it probably would also work because it is antimicrobial. Although antiviral, do I have antiviral listed? Because cold sores are basically antiviral. I don't have it. Yes, I do. Okay, Helichrysum is antiviral. So yes, theoretically, it could also work. Yes, for cold sores, which is awesome. Nail fungus, yes. Is this the best oil for swollen lymph nodes? I would probably ideally combine it with tea tree and or lemon, to be honest. That probably would be the best to combine it. For skin tags, I'm not sure for skin tags. I usually like something a little bit different for skin tags, but I would probably include it in the recipe though. Yes. Age spots, moles, I would say so. I would probably combine it with lemon for the age spots. Yeah, oregano, that's what I'm thinking too. Oregano for skin tags. I was going to say something more harsh, but I didn't want to say something more harsh because it makes you think that Helichrysum's a wimp, and it's absolutely not a wimp. It is awesome. So that's why I was like, I didn't go there. But yes, oregano.
Gentle oil, but not a mild oil.
It's powerful, but it's not like oregano. It's not the same. It's not a hot oil, what people consider hot oils.
What is the Superman thing? He's meek and mild-mannered, but he's, more powerful than a, steam locomotive or whatever. I need to go back and watch those old cartoons.
So how much lemon with a heli? I would probably go half and half. Why not? So let me think. So instead of using 18 drops, then just go 9 and 9. And that would be for a 3% dilution for a 1 ounce bottle of whatever oil or lotion that you're using. That's probably what I would do. You're welcome. So then we have muscles. Helichrysum's also really good for achy muscles, tendon aches, pains, any inflammation. Yes, the general rule for diffusing is well, it's 30 to 60 on and then 30 to 60 off. You can totally go 30 on and 60 off. That's fine. It's just it's general rule of thumb. I think you really don't need to go beyond 30. I probably, if I had to pick one number, I would go, yes, 30 on, 60 off. But,
a lot of diffusers, if they have a timer, it goes up to 1 hour. Like that's what ours do. So I just set the 1 hour timer, and then if we have germs in the house, I might set a reminder on my phone to turn it back on in an hour, but otherwise I just leave it until I remember. So it'll probably be a couple hours,
right.
So, don't sweat it too much.
Right.
If you have one that doesn't have a timer, just fill it up less, figure out, kind of how long it'll run on continuous, and then just fill it with less water. Don't stress on it, especially if you're not right next to it. And especially if you're just walking through the room, But
yeah, exactly. Because I'll run mine sometimes all day, but it's in a room I'm not in all day.
Mm-hmm.
So because it might not have a timer on it. So yeah, it's nothing. It's more that your body will respond better to it in shorter intervals. If you're exposing your body to that for hours on end, at some point your body's going to go, I've had enough. Just like with really strong aromas. Like if you've smelled a skunk smell, after a while, the smell is still hanging around in the air, but your nose has pretty much tuned it out at that point. It's gone, okay, we've had enough. I think we're good. Same way with essential aromas.
Right. And like Charlotte's saying, she said she thinks she developed a cough from diffusing all night, which I've never really heard, I would get, a headache if I were exposed too long. So your body will tell you if you've done too much.
Exactly.
Like, Leah's saying, shorter periods do your body more good, but don't flip out, if it goes longer than that. It's not
61 minutes, don't panic, don't call poison.
No big deal.
But yes, just look for if you're starting to get a headache, if you're nauseous, the cough, whatever, those could be signs that you're overdoing it. So your body will let you know. But generally speaking, diffusing is the most subtle way to use essential oils. Chances of adverse reactions are extremely low. So yeah, don't sweat it. Don't stress, because that's not good for you either.
Yeah, exactly.
So for muscle issues, I have for adults, and again, I have dilutions here for 6+ months, 6+ years, and then adults. I do have a 3 to 5% dilution range on that. It's really going to depend on what your exact issue is, the severity of your pain, whether you go to 3 or 5, or honestly even 10. You know, you might need a 10% dilution. Just always use the lowest dilution that you can that's effective for you. And that is really the guideline to go by. So always go with a lower dilution, and if you need to, add more drops. It's as easy as that. Yes, you generally stop smelling oils after 30 minutes anyways. Exactly. And that's with a lot of us. Our bodies, we just stop smelling it. You know, we could be baking bread or making soup, and someone walks in and goes, oh, that smells nice. And you're going, what are you talking about? Like, I don't smell anything, because your body's used to it and will tune it out. So, but it's still working though. It does still work. And that's where you can get into being overdone. So yes, Helichrysum for respiratory issues, congestion, bronchitis, pneumonia, whooping cough. Honestly, I would probably combine this with other essential oils. That is just me personally. What is the carrier oil? No, I'd highly suggest that you do avoid mineral oil, any type of petroleum-based oils. Carrier oil could be jojoba oil, almond oil, avocado oil. Daphne or Christy, if you could put the link up to carriers, it's just carriers. There's a ton of different carrier oils that you can use. Now, sometimes, like for skin issues, like for anti-aging, I would probably recommend something like rosehip or argan oil. For skin damage, I might recommend tamanu oil or trauma oil. But generally speaking, you can just keep 1 or 2 different carriers around. And jojoba is my favorite for most issues because it lasts a long time. It's actually a wax. It's a liquid wax. So it lasts 20+ years. It just lasts a very long time. And fractionated coconut oil. What was that?
It feels so good going on too. It just goes right in.
And actually, it matches our own natural skin sebum very closely. So it's a really, really, really great one for the skin. Where I was getting with fractionated coconut oil, it's also one that lasts a long time, but it's one that I personally do not own and will never buy personally because it is so processed, and that is why it lasts a long time. I prefer carrier oils that are therapeutic. Why not, right? I mean, if you can add therapeutic enhancement to the essential oils and make a great combination, go for it. I mean, why not? But generally speaking, you don't really need a specific one. And that's why I just say carrier oil, you know, whichever one you want. Sometimes I would recommend aloe vera gel, and that will be like for fungal issues and stuff, and we'll get into that. So you can use any carrier oil or even lotion that you have that you want to use. Magnesium oil actually can be an option. It may not be one that you want to use because it can be very drying. It's sort of like walking into the ocean and coming out and your skin's kind of dry. Magnesium oil can kind of have that sort of effect. It's not really a lubricant, but you can use it if you choose to. If you have leg cramps, then go for it. Yes, it may sting. It may sting when you're first starting to use it. If you are deficient in magnesium, it can sting. If it's something you're used to using and you want to add essential oils to it, absolutely you can do that. Yes, for sure.
Could you mix it with another one? Sorry, Christy. Another carrier?
I've not personally done that. I'm thinking you could. I'm wondering if it would separate though. Okay. So I'm not really sure. I'll claim ignorance on that.
I haven't tried magnesium oil yet, so I wasn't sure.
Yeah, I have tried it, but just alone. I haven't tried combining it, but that's a really great question. If anybody out there that's listening has tried combining it, please jump in and let us know because I honestly don't know.
Yeah, because I think we'd like to recommend that because magnesium is a big thing. And we know that, but we don't want to dry your skin out while we're trying to take care of other issues. Right.
Exactly. So I think depending on what you're using it for, it might be a good addition. So for using it for congestion and all those sort of respiratory issues, magnesium oil, you can find it on Amazon. There's an Ancient Minerals brand that I personally like. But there's definitely plenty of other options out there. I think Ancient Minerals is a really good affordable one. It's probably high on the list if you were to go to Amazon and check out magnesium oil spray. You can also, there's actually recipes where you can make your own from flakes and stuff. But if you're just trying it out, I suggest just going ahead with a spray to see if you like it. And then if you do and you want to buy a lot and stuff, then you can go ahead and try to make your own.
There's a question we missed up a little ways. It says, can I take in a capsule since it detoxifies is what it says. I'm assuming that's what it means. It's up a little ways before the carrier oil.
Okay.
Question.
Off the bat, I would suggest that nobody ingest, whether it's a capsule or not, any essential oils unless you are under the guidance of a professional, whether that's a certified aromatherapist or a naturopath or somebody that does know about essential oils and that can monitor you and say, you know what, this is really good. Generally, for using essential oils internally, it has to be a pretty serious health issue to risk that, because there are adverse effects from ingesting. And for some issues, it may be okay. You know, it's always a balance of risk versus benefit. And for some people, it may be worth that risk to get the benefit. But if you're just wanting to add it to a capsule and ingest it because you think that might be a good thing, it's probably not a great thing for you. I honestly cannot think of any reason at all to ingest Helichrysum. I just can't. There's a couple of other essential oils that may be of benefit to ingest under certain circumstances, but not for Helichrysum. And not for 99% of them for 99% of the time either. Yes.
Going back to the hydrosols, though, although we are normally talking about the oils, hydrosols are a different ball game. And you can go, I'll post the link again, or Christy can if she has it faster, post to the hydrosols. There are reasons that you could ingest the hydrosol version, although I don't know if you have any uses listed for Helichrysum in particular, but you know, diarrhea or constipation or, you know, heartburn or things like that, but not the oil. If you want to get into ingestion, pick up the hydrosol.
Right.
That's going to
And you always do dilute the hydrosol when you use it internally. You will want to dilute it. And I'm pretty sure I have recommendations. I think it's like a couple of teaspoons or tablespoons to a quart or something. I don't remember. It's on there. It's on the link that Chrissy just posted. And so you can learn more about that. But yes.
It'll taste better anyway if you do.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. So I suggest a steam inhalation for those respiratory type issues. And I do have, again, it's on the post using eossafely.com/heli, HELIEO. And you basically have a steaming bowl of water, and you can put your face over it with a towel like over your head, and you kind of want to sneak in a drop or two of essential oil because you want to keep that steam in as you're breathing deeply, and you want to keep that going for a few minutes, probably 5, maybe 10 minutes, until the steam kind of subsides, and that can really open up your airways and really help with congestion. For children, however, I recommend a cup of hot water and 1 drop of essential oil, and they're just kind of like their nose is over it a little bit and they're kind of breathing it a little bit. Definitely watch them, since the water is going to be rather hot. You don't want them to burn themselves. Obviously, you don't want them to drink it. You don't want to leave them unattended. So that is just an option for the younger children. Another thing you can do is apply it topically for congestion. And you can use a 3 to 5% dilution for adults, and then lesser dilutions. And basically you want to add it to the carrier oil or lotion and apply it to the chest and throat. Don't apply it to your feet. Please apply it to the area that needs it. So it'd be over your chest, over your throat area, and that can help. Yes, you can add it to your bath water. Absolutely. You want to add, you can add up to 5 drops per tablespoon of carrier and a cup of bath salts. And I do have a recipe for that as well on here, and you can add it to the bath. Yes. Because you use it topically in the mouth. I burned the roof of my mouth the other night. Yeah, you can. You can. You can also, if you have the hydrosol, you can spray that directly in your mouth. If you're using it inside of your mouth, it's not considered ingestion. You're using it topically. It may be strong, it may not taste that great, but yes, you can. You absolutely can. And if you wanted to, I do have a recipe for burns here too, by the way, but if you wanted to put a couple of drops, a drop or two on a Q-tip and just kind of dab it on the roof of your mouth, that's a really great way to do it. Especially when you have a burn and you don't really want to take the time to make a recipe, that is okay to do. For burns, it's one of those rare exceptions where you can use it directly on your skin. So that is totally fine.
And I am we'll go back to this, but I'm going to make up Christy's recipe with the hydrosols and aloe and put it, I haven't decided yet. I'm going to look at the consistency, either in a spray bottle or a flip top bottle, maybe even both, just to have, depending on the issue. And then I'm going to stick it in my fridge. And so bumps and burns and things like that, it's just going to be in the fridge, cool, ready to go. So I won't have to worry about it. And it'll be hydrosol, so I know that, I don't have to worry about the dilution for the baby if he's getting to that stage where he's bumping and stuff now. But like we said, we'll talk about bruises later. But I would say that falls under burns as well.
Yes, and I have a recipe for burns that I keep in my fridge as well. And it's basically 50-50 jojoba and aloe vera gel, and then adding the Helichrysum to it. And I keep that right in my fridge. And it will drip out. It won't harden. So that's really awesome. Yeah, surgical sites with stitches, that would be okay. Generally, you don't want to apply any essential oils to open gaping wounds, but if it's being stitched up and it's healing, it's okay to apply a low dilution to that. Yes, that is totally fine.
And Carly had a side note question. How many EOs do y'all use in a day? Do you go days, weeks on a break without any EOs?
Well, my answer is as needed. Sometimes there's days, weeks that I don't need to use them, either diffusing them, or I probably don't go weeks without diffusing, but I would say topically, I may go weeks without using. Although actually I do have low dilutions in some of my facial stuff that I use. So basically as needed. I don't use them every single day. I don't make it a point to run my diffuser all day long, but that's just me. So what do you think, guys?
And well, I think what we've always said is if you're using any oil for an extended amount of time, switch it up after a couple weeks. If you like using, lavender in, one product, try mandarin or something else for a couple weeks. If you're making deodorant, make 2 versions and, just as you remember, don't stress about it. But just try to kind of switch it up so your body is not getting used to those oils, and it lowers your risk of sensitization and things like that. And you can even switch up your diffuser blends if you're using them really often, although that's just more about, like we were talking about earlier, the longer you run it, the longer, the more your body's going to get used to it. So it's the same principle. Right. It's just over an extended amount of time rather than, that hour or 4 hours or whatever.
Right. And I really don't recommend using them just to use them. I would really save them for when you need to use them. And fortunately, if you're a healthy person, you may not need to use them very often. And that doesn't mean you can't diffuse because you like the aroma or anything, but just be careful how often you use them.
Mm-hmm.
What about you?
Yeah. Any input, Christy?
No, yeah, I agree with what all you said.
So there's a link to the Facebook. Somebody mentioned they couldn't get on, they couldn't follow the link for Facebook. I'm not sure what you posted, Christy, but somebody couldn't see it.
It was the link. I reposted it from Pinterest. I couldn't quickly find it, the recipe. It was the recipe for how to do the steam inhalation and how to make the bath salts. Okay. So I reposted it. Maybe the person that couldn't do it is not on our group. So I posted the Pinterest link instead.
Okay, perfect.
There is a question. Can you make your own Helichrysum Hydrosol?
You can. If you have a Helichrysum plant, then I suppose you could go ahead and make your own hydrosol. I personally have not made my own hydrosols. You can buy small stills. You can actually use your pots and pans and kind of rig up a way to do hydrosols and stuff. I personally have not done that. But yes, it's possible if you can get Helichrysum. Then yes, you can. I can't, I can't speak to the strength versus, you know, what you would buy online. You know, that's all up for debate. But to the one asking, you can post your question here. Your very serious question about essential oils. You can just go ahead and post that right in the comments. So mineral oil, get that one. Make your own. I mean, technically you can make your own essential oils and hydrosols. So with all the safety for essential oils, do you think the FDA will ever get involved and regulate them? I don't know. I do know that there are some companies who are really pushing it with really unsafe recommendations, and they may be the cause of the FDA getting involved. Hopefully the FDA will only get involved with them particularly, and not aromatherapy in general and overall. That would be a huge undertaking for them to do also. So yeah, who's to say? You know, who's to say? It would be really great if they could follow safe usage recommendations so that adverse reactions would be a lot less. So yeah. If you want to go ahead, you can email me at you can email me there if you have a photo that you need, and I'll check it out after. So yeah, as far as the FDA, you just have to look. Time will tell. So hives, yes. And we're getting to skin, hooray, my favorite for Helichrysum. I'm so excited. So acne is one that Helichrysum is good for. And you can use 6 drops per ounce of your facial cleanser, moisturizer, lotion, or liquid foundation, whatever you put on your skin on a daily basis. And then just apply it like you normally would. And that gives you a 1% dilution. Or you can add a drop per teaspoon of witch hazel or aloe vera and apply to problem spots as needed. So again, if you're using this every single day, hopefully you're only using it if you have a breakout. I really don't recommend using any essential oils every single day. However, this is a 1% dilution, so you can probably use it 3 or 4 weeks before needing to maybe try something different. And Helichrysum is not the only essential oil that is good for acne, so you can alternate it with things like lavender, geranium, frankincense, myrrh. So I do have a recipe up there for acne. It's also good for yeah, well, I have a suspicion that it's probably how do I do this? There we go. Okay. Yeah, I have a suspicion that person was probably not genuine, so that's why I was very hesitant to let them on. So anyways, I'll have to be keeping out for my email to see what I get. That might be exciting. It might not be exciting. I'll have to find out. So for athlete's foot, I know this came up earlier. There's a question about athlete's foot and any fungal and microbial skin issues. And let's see. So basically, instead of a carrier oil, I recommend that you use aloe vera gel. And that is because microbial issues really like to breathe. If you smother them with oil, it's probably only going to make the problem worse. The question about hydrosols daily, yes, you can use hydrosols daily. Yes, absolutely you can. I personally do use hydrosols daily. I do not use the same exact one forever. I have usually 2 or 3 that I use, like in any given night. I'll just, hey, I'll try this one. And my favorites are, I really love Neroli Hydrosol. That is my favorite one to use, that I use most of the time. Sometimes I'll also use, there's a geranium one I like to use. Lavender's a good one. There's a few other really awesome, like a black cherry. If you go to gardenofwisdom.com, she has some really awesome hydrosols that I love. I think there's like a plum one. There's a couple of really, really great ones that I like to use. And I typically like to use them after I wash my face at night, and I spritz them before my moisturizer. Sandalwood hydrosol is also great. Absolutely, Charlotte. That is really, really great. Yes, the acne recipe is available as well. Yes. And let me, or maybe one of you guys could type the link. It's just
I got it.
Okay, perfect. And all of the recipes are there. I will also be putting them on Pinterest as well and Instagram as well. So for athlete's foot, I was mentioning the aloe vera gel is what I like to recommend as the basis. And you want to do a little bit lower dilution than you would maybe for other things because the skin is damaged. And when you have damaged skin, you want to really be careful. First of all, if you want to use an essential oil, you may only want to use a hydrosol. If you do use essential oil, please use a lower dilution. So for an adult, I recommend a 2% dilution for athlete's foot, and that would be 12 drops of helichrysum per ounce of aloe vera gel, or 2 drops per teaspoon, however you want to figure it out. Bruises, we're here. I'm so excited. My favorite use. I have to say, if you are on our YouTube channel, you've already seen me go on and on about Helichrysum for bruises. It is totally awesome. And Christy's already shared with us she uses the Hydrosol for bruises even. Can you use Helichrysum on a baby under a year? You can, yes. There is no minimum age requirement to use Helichrysum Essential Oil on children. Now, generally speaking, we recommend that you try to avoid using essential oils at all for children under the age of 2, but that is just a general recommendation. Obviously, if they have a bruise or a bump or something that needs attention, pull it out and use it, yes. For a baby under a year, I would probably stick to either 0.25 or 0.5% dilution, generally speaking. If you have a bruise, I think I have a 0.5% dilution that I recommend on there. 1% might be fine too. Yeah, with sensitive skin, yeah, you just want to go easy. For sensitive skin, I'd probably stick with a 1% dilution. And 1% dilution is actually the recommended dilution for facial applications.
Unless baby has sensitive skin, then she's, the 0.25 or.
Yes.
If it's a bruise though, even with sensitive skin, if we're talking about Helichrysum, I think 0.5 would be okay. I mean, I'd do that for Marshall. He has eczema, so that would fall under sensitive skin.
Yes.
Other oils maybe not, but Helichrysum, even with sensitive skin, use a skin nourishing carrier if you can, like jojoba or something. That'll make it even, better.
Right. And honestly, not to take any glory away from Helichrysum because we're talking about Helichrysum, but if you have trauma oil, that alone, the mixture of 3 carrier oils, and I've only found it for sale on Aromatics International. It's actually aromatics.com now. And it's a blend of arnica, St. John's wort, and is it Helichrysum oil? I always forget the third one. It's a blend of those 3 awesome arnica, St. John's wort. I want to say hypericum, but I think is. I always have a major brain cramp thinking on the third, but there's 3, and those are just carrier oils, and those alone are really super awesome just for bruising and skin issues. Calendula, thank you. Oh my word, calendula, yes. I think that is the third one. Anyways, it's 3 really super awesome carrier oils. Any other oils that would not be good to blend with Heli? No, there are no essential oils that counteract each other. They will only enhance and benefit each other. So that is really awesome to know. Right. So yes, for bruises. So I recommend, yes, it is awesome. I recommend for adults, a 2% dilution is generally going to be fine for bruises. And I always have this one. I have Orocacia Helichrysum. It's pre-diluted in jojoba. And I purchased this bottle on VitaCost. And if you ask Orocacia the dilution of their bottles, they don't tell you the exact dilution, but they will tell you it's between 3 and 5%, which for me, for bruises, and for my kids for bruises, it's perfect for me. I don't have to stress and worry, is it 3 or is it 5? It's going to be fine regardless. If you want to make up your own roller bottle yourself, if you have a 10 ml roller bottle for an adult, you can add 4 drops of Helichrysum to that roller bottle. Then you can fill it right up to the neck and then put it all together, and you can roll it over problem areas as needed. Yes, Mountain Rose Herbs has trauma oil too. That's good to know. Good to know. So it's not very common though. I don't even think Eden's Garden has it. I don't think many do. It is expensive, and that's the thing. It's very expensive, and I think that's why. But it takes a lot of time to make. It takes a lot of plant matter and expensive plant matter to make. And you can actually make your own. If you buy the dried flower parts. You can actually infuse your own oil to do that. So does anybody on here have any testimonials with Helichrysum and bruising other than me and Christy and Daphne, who's used it as well? It works. It does work immediately. Like, you just won't believe it until you actually experience it for yourself. You have? Awesome. Feel free to tell us about that a little bit. I know as you're typing, I pinched the palm of my hand in some scissors. I like pinched it as I was cutting, and it bruised immediately. And I put a drop of this on it, and it went right away. Yeah, right away. It's very, very awesome. And really, as soon as you put it on, the sooner you put it on, the better. If you wait like half a day or something, it's not going to be as amazing for you. But if you can have some handy at all times, then you will be totally amazed. Ringing ears. It may. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, if you're saving up for Healy, not to tout any one company, but Eden's Garden has the best price I've found so far.
Yeah.
Plant Therapy had a sale on it yesterday, but it was still a little bit higher than Eden's Garden. And so if there may be others, but that we just ordered some this week. So to go with but Plant Therapy has the Hydrosol. So that's where I got mine.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too.
Yep.
So if you're saving your pennies and you want to price around, because there's some good deals to be had.
Yeah, their 5 ml bottle is only $39.95, which for Helichrysum is really amazing. They're normally over $50. And by the way, if you follow that link, the /HELIEO, you will find that there's a giveaway, and I'll talk more about that at the end, but there is a giveaway for a bottle as well. So yes, drop to table. Yes, you could definitely use those on your toes. Use it on your hips, deep tissue massage, and it bruised. 3% Heli with rose hip. Yeah, rose hip is excellent. Went away fast. Yes. Yes, that is awesome.
Let's go back to the ear ringing, and then because there's a couple other questions that cropped up after that too.
Yeah, I do not have experience with tinnitus and essential oils personally. It's certainly something you can try, and if you do, yeah, you don't need to spend $75. No. If you do use it, I would suggest diluting it and putting it around your ear, possibly maybe even on this part of your ear as well, but never inside the ear, even if diluted. Never, never, never inside the ear. That's not a good idea at all.
What about a cotton ball over your ear?
You can do that. You want to put a drop or two on a cotton ball and tuck it right in your ear. That is the farthest I would suggest for you to go on that. Yes, and that could be totally fine too.
Someone on the list last night said they put a drop on their finger and then they touched it in their ear. And that is not that's not a good idea, is it? To put the
don't want
in your ear like that?
Inside your ear.
And that's what she said.
Yeah, if you want to do that, you want to dilute it. You want to dilute it for sure. So,
but a cotton ball would be a better option.
It would be better, obviously,
then.
Yes. Because really, if you're putting it undiluted on your finger and you're putting it like right in your ear, it can drip down into your ear canal, and it may not damage, but it also may damage. I mean, who wants the risk? I don't think anybody does.
The next question was, what oil would you use as a base if you wanted to make your own trauma oil? That's a good question.
Well, you want the arnica and Helichrysum and calendula. I mean, that's what you want that's what the trauma oil is.
I think they're asking about infusing those 3 herbs into an oil and creating your own. What would you infuse?
Right. I personally would probably go with jojoba because it has the longest shelf life. But you can use an e-carrier oil that you want to. But I probably would personally use jojoba. That would just be me. If you have almond, apricot, whatever that you want to use, avocado, sesame, whatever, go for it. Just realize that it has a shelf life. And if you're making really expensive oil, you probably want as long as possible. So I highly suggest that you go for the jojoba and do that, because then it won't spoil as quickly as maybe some other ones would. Welcome.
All right.
Oh, good. So burns and wounds. Does anybody have anything to say before we go on to burns and wounds? Woo! Yay!
They're asking about the contest, but we can cover that at the end if you want.
Yeah, we'll go over that at the end too. Facebook giveaways an incorrect link. I'll share this link. Sorry about that. Thank you for letting me know. I can't edit it right now, but I will. That's right too.
Add that to your pile of sticky notes, Leah.
Yep, pile of notes. Why is it so expensive? Which I think we pretty much kind of covered already. I think that's a really great, somebody already answered that. Thank you, I appreciate that. Yeah, it's supposed to be HELIEO, and that would be the share link. I was trying to help you guys by throwing that in there. What I did is I copied it from the last giveaway. So I was trying to remember which ones to open and edit, and obviously missed that. So I appreciate you letting me know and bring that to my attention. I'll have to edit that after. Yes. So burns and wounds. So Christy already explained the mixture that she uses. Pretty much 1 part lavender, 1 part Helichrysum Hydrosols, and then so that makes the 1 part to the 1 part of aloe vera. So it's 25% of each hydrosol and then the 50% of aloe vera. What I like to do is use the essential oil, and I add 12 drops of Helichrysum with a 1/2 ounce of jojoba oil and a 1/2 ounce of aloe vera gel. And I store it in a 1 ounce squeeze bottle with a lotion cap top. And what you can do is after you mix it, you want to shake it well. Sometimes the aloe vera gel is kind of chunky and you just want to make sure that's all mixed well, which if you leave enough air at the top, if you leave a little bit of air and you shake it, then it will pretty much take care of itself. If you have a glass stirring rod, you can try to like stir it up a little bit in there if you want to, but it should work if you just shake it up like that. And I like the bottles that have the lotion cap tops. You can also use like a lotion pump top if you want to. And I store mine in the refrigerator. So if anybody has like a bad burn or wound, you can do one of 2 things. You can either just flip the cap and drizzle it. I've just let gravity take its course, and I just open the cap and just kind of like hold it over and just like drizzle it right over a burn. Another thing you can do if it's not too bad and you can tolerate it is you can dip a Q-tip in the mixture and you can kind of dab it on the burn. So it would depend on you can just drizzle it on if it's a bad one, if you don't want that little bit of pressure from the Q-tip. So there's 1 of 2 ways you can do that. And my recipe calls for a 2% dilution. Now for burns and wounds, the skin is damaged and sensitive, and 2% should be plenty strong enough. As it heals, you can continue to apply it as needed. And it feels really good also coming out of the refrigerator because it's cold.
And most, I don't have mine, but most aloe, if you buy it from like Mountain Rose or Aromatics, the pure stuff is really, really watery. So even a spray bottle would probably work pretty well, depending on
it depends on what kind. Yeah, I've gotten aloe vera gel that is not really gel. It's kind of liquid, and it's still good stuff. And so certainly you can make a spray out of that. And then I have aloe vera gel that is clumpy. That is a gel. Yeah. So yeah, it would definitely depend on the consistency of the aloe vera, and then whatever oil that you use, that you add to it. It would depend on what you can do. Because being able to spray would be really awesome too.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. And that's actually kind of what I wanted. Because I was thinking if you have it, like, if you're talking about like a sunburn or something, sometimes a spray, so you're not like trying.
You don't want to be rubbing on your sunburn.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
the spray is.
So Christy's
yeah, I know Mountain Rose and Aromatics. I have the Mountain Rose version, are really watery. They're supposed to be sprayable. Some other companies, I think is it Guam? Anyway, they use a thickener to kind of get it more like to a gel-like consistency. And if that's what you want, you could always do that yourself too. You get it and it's too watery, you can thicken it up. But
and if you have a plant, you can use that as well. You know, that would be okay. Do that. And actually the plant itself, if you just peel it and just rub it right on the burn, I mean, that alone is awesome. Just that alone is awesome for burns. But yeah, Christy's recipe with the hydrosols would definitely be ideal for sunburns, because you really don't want to be smearing and touching all over any sunburn. It's like, ow! So, yeah. So for eczema,
sunburn, but I can't wait to try it.
Yeah, I know. Exactly. Like, yay, you got hurt. Yay, you're sick. Yay, you're You get a little excited sometimes when
I know.
like, yay, I got a bruise. Now I can feel myself like healing it with Helichrysum. Yes. Actually, I thought about this earlier. I have to confess, okay? I have to confess something. I might get everybody to leave as soon as I say this. But I actually almost thought about grabbing those scissors again and showing you right here and pinching myself and bruising and putting the heli right on just so everybody could see. But I thought, I don't know, people might think that's a little weird. I don't know.
I was just getting ready to say that sometimes learning about the therapeutic properties turns us into a little bit of masochists because we're all like, I can't wait to try that and see if it works.
Testimony about Helio. I would love to hear it. I would love to hear that. Awesome. I can't wait to hear. So yes, I thought about that when I was folding laundry earlier. I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. I don't know, sadistic or something maybe, but not really. It's not really.
I think if you followed through on it, that might have been a little weird. But having the thought,
but no. I thought about it.
Well, it's kind of like wishing like we had taken pictures with the dermatologist of Jackson's eczema, and now it's kind of like, oh darn, it's healed. Not really. We're happy that it's healed, but we're like, oh, it looks so much better now.
I'll admit it. I took pictures of my bruises, and no, I'm not going to share them, but I did because I wanted to see how dramatic it would be and how quickly it healed up. So I have, I did. I took pictures of them.
Yeah. Well, hey, of course you did. Of course you did. So you guys, anybody, if you get a bruise, please have some of this handy and just try it for yourself because it does totally work. Absolutely. You will be, I think that's the most totally amazed I've ever been with essential oil. Is just like, whoa, like jaw dropped, like how effective it is. Of course we know they're effective, but when you see like a bruise literally disappear right there in front of you, it's just incredible. Yes, I will say that probably 10 more times before this is over. This is so awesome. Okay, so Mad Science GF. Bought Helichrysum rose, geranium, and aloe to heal sunburns on vacation. It worked wonderful for my friends. Moral of the story, don't leave home without your first aid kit. Yes, exactly. Very, very good. Yeah. I suggest, this is one that I have that I keep around. I actually have a few bottles of it, and I keep one in, not quite every room, but, here and there in the kitchen. It's definitely one that I would suggest that you dilute and put in a little roller bottle and carry with you, in your purse. I mean, it's probably one of the ones that I definitely would suggest that people do.
Which is exactly what So You Mad did. It looks like. Are you seeing this? This is good.
I am. My daughter fell 2 weeks ago on a marble staircase and had a huge bruise on her head. We ended up bringing her to the hospital. She had a concussion. Oh my goodness. And when we were in the hospital, I took out my roller bottle of Heli and put it on her bruise. Even the doctor was blown away. That is awesome. That is awesome. See, guys.
Sorry about the concussion, but that's absolutely a great testimony.
It is. That is awesome. Yes. This is for real, guys. This is absolutely for real. And no, I'm sure you didn't probably use the $80 bottle of Helichrysum, right? It's probably just, you do not need the expensive stuff. Let me get that straight right now. It's about the essential oil. It is not about the brand, okay? Exactly. I just want to say that. Yes. So, yep, from Eden's Garden. It was Eden's Garden. Awesome. Hooray! Awesome. We totally have to send that in to them. I'm sure they would love to hear that.
Yes.
We have a section. We have a comment section. Yeah, customer reviews. Are you kidding? You have to go over there if you haven't already.
You should email them directly with that one, too.
Yes, they would love to hear that. That is really, really awesome. Good, you're going to make your roller bottle tonight. Awesome. Yay! So nice. So yeah, eczema. Daphne, maybe you can chime in on this. Maybe you can tell me if I got my recipe right or not. But for eczema and psoriasis, I'm suggesting a 2% dilution. And again, 2 versus like a 3.5 only because you're dealing with pretty much damaged skin. And I have it for carrier oil or aloe vera gel. Now, I would have gone with the aloe vera gel, but Daphne, I think you've told me that the oil is actually good. It's good to have an oil on it because it's dry. So that's a good thing. Because for me, I typically think of like if it's a fungal issue or something like athlete's foot, you want it to breathe. So that's where I think. So you can use a carrier oil or aloe vera gel.
Yeah. Healing. Healing. Sorry if I'm echoing. the more moisture, the better. So even in a salve or something with beeswax, we're still experimenting with more natural methods because my kids have pretty severe eczema. So we're still doing the dermatologist's recommended treatment when it gets really bad. But you want to moisturize as many times a day as possible. And you also want to seal in that moisture. So if you were to just translate the typical treatment into natural treatment, you would maybe use Helichrysum in a roller bottle and roll it on and let it absorb, and then follow that up with moisture and try and get that moisture sealed in. And you can moisturize as many times a day as you need to, as many times as you remember. Yeah, there's some great carriers for eczema, and you can switch it up. I mean, that's the great thing about eczema. There's no one answer to it. So some people will respond really well, and others need, more treatment, which is why, we see a dermatologist. There's different levels. So if you're getting frustrated, bump it up. And if your natural methods aren't touching it, of course, go see your doctor. But moisture, moisture, moisture. That's what they're going to tell you anyway, is definitely moisture. And I think aloe would be good too. It probably would be soothing, but it might sting a little bit if it's open. So that's why another reason I recommend jojoba, because it's gentle. So while you're getting that Healy in there, it's gentle, and then you can follow up with another soothing salve. So, okay, stepping off the soapbox. Answer some questions.
Well, Daphne, you're the perfect one to answer this
all day.
Yeah, I know. The question about nursing mothers with cracked nipples from breastfeeding.
Oh yeah, new soapbox.
Yay! I'm trying to get Vitacost to load so I can check out the price on the Heli, but it's being slow.
I would think
about $12.79 through our Acacia website. It's $12.79.
Okay.
In the jojoba.
Okay. I was thinking it was between 12 and 15, and I couldn't remember. Yeah, so it's very cost effective, and you have 100 drops in this thing at least, and I only use literally 1 or 2 drops at a time. So
it's actually on sale. It's normally $15.99 on sale for $12.79 on the Acacia website. I'll put the link.
Okay, someone's finding $10.49 on Amazon. So and Acacia,
that's even better.
They are a good brand. So yeah, nursing mothers, cracked nipples from breastfeeding. Yeah, generally you want to. Obviously between feedings, try to wipe it off before the baby nurses, because you really don't want them either getting it on their skin or ingesting it. Honestly, you could just go for coconut oil or just some carrier oil.
The hydrosol would probably be a good option.
Right.
Because it's going to be safe, and even if baby gets it in their mouth. This is not an EO option at all, but I will track down the link really quick and share it with you here in a second. But I got the I cannot think of what they're called now. They're milk catchers, and basically it kind of pulls everything off of you so your nipples can breathe. And you're only supposed to wear them for about 40 minutes at a time. But you put those on, slather on lanolin, and then put those on and let your nipples breathe for a little bit. If you can't walk around topless or whatever, and then wipe that off in your next feeding. And you can use the Helichrysum if you wanted to, the Hydrosol, because that would be safe if baby ingested. But really, like lanolin and letting them breathe. And I would slather it on super thick when I got in the shower, just like thick, and then to keep all the water off. But it could breathe and things like that. It hurts. I promise it will get better. So I'll find the link to those milk catchers though, because those were a lifesaver. That's what finally tipped the scales in my favor, and I was able to go on. I almost had to give up. So I definitely understand.
Yeah, and kudos for you for still breastfeeding. Even with those issues, that's awesome. So hopefully you can find some relief.
Yes, I hope so.
So Helichrysum is also, yes, it does get better. Stick with it. Never give up. It gets better. Yeah. It will get better. It will definitely get better. Helichrysum is also really good for itching, irritation, and rashes. 16 months, awesome, good for you. I went to about 4 years with both my kids. Over 3 to 4. Maybe some of you will drop off right here just hearing that, but hey. So that's awesome.
I might make it to 2 with this one. No.
Helichrysum is really good for itching, irritation, and rashes. And again, because we're dealing with pretty much damaged skin here, I do recommend the lower dilution of like a 2% dilution is good. And you can use either aloe vera gel or you can use witch hazel. Both of them are really good carriers for these issues. And you can use it in a spray, especially if you have the aloe vera gel that is the thin, watery kind, but witch hazel you definitely can use in a spray. If you do add essential oils, 18 months and 29 months, awesome, good for you. If you do use essential oils with the witch hazel, I suggest you shake it up well before applying. Just give it some shakes and spritz. And I normally like go shake, 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 spritz, 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 shake, 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 you know, like that. So you really want it all mixed when you're spritzing, just to make sure. Because if you don't shake it and you're just pumping, you're only going to be pumping the aloe vera and the witch hazel. All of those essential oils will be floating on the top and you won't get that added benefit. So you do want to shake it up before using on any rashes or itching or irritation. And sometimes just plain aloe vera works. Sometimes, you know, depending on what it is, plain coconut oil will work. And I don't mean the fractionated, I mean the real goopy stuff. There can be plenty of carrier oils that can work on their own. But adding Helichrysum to it can really, really work well. Oh, scars, yes. Scars. Helichrysum is so good for skin, guys. It's so good for all your skin issues. So for scars, I recommend, I don't use roller bottles for everything, okay? I don't think it's the best way to apply essential oils to the skin, but for scars, I think it's a really, really handy way to deal with scars. So my recipe is for a 10 mil stretch marks, yes, and stretch marks too. In fact, that's really great. I'm making another note. I should totally make a separate one just for stretch marks. And if you do, I would recommend using tangerine with the Helichrysum for stretch marks. Tangerine is super, super well. Super works super well. Is Helichrysum? No, Helichrysum is not mostly used just for skin issues. I think it's a best for skin issue, or as far as whatever body system that is most effective for, I would have to say skin. But it also is good for other body systems. We mentioned congestion earlier and allergies earlier. There's plenty of things that Helichrysum can be useful for. I don't know, I just get excited about talking about it being used for skin. I don't know, I'm probably just weird, don't mind me. So yeah, there's plenty of issues. But back to scars. If you have a 10 ml roller bottle for an adult, you can use between a 4 and 10% dilution. And so that would be between 8 and 20 drops of Helichrysum in that 10 ml roller bottle. And the reason why there's a wide range, it depends, is this a new scar? Is this an old scar? How bad is the scar? So if it's an old scar, I would definitely go to the higher range. I would go for 10% dilution, honestly. And then I would probably use that a couple of times a day for a couple of weeks, and then I would back down to probably a 4 or 5% dilution and use that, you know, for a few weeks or until it's gone. If it's a new scar, then you can probably just start with a 4% dilution. But, you know, whatever you want to do. It's not, you know, if you want to use 10% on a new scar, then that's fine too. You know, that's totally fine. Yeah. There's no minimum dilution or maximum dilution, I should say, for Helichrysum. It's not dangerous if you want to go ahead with a 10%.
Yeah. Yeah. Has a pretty bad scar on his cheek, so I will be taking pictures and letting you guys know how the recipe works once my bottle comes in. So, you know, stay tuned.
Yeah. For children, I generally recommend a 1 to 3% dilution. You know, their skin is just so new and it's regenerating anyways. It usually doesn't need all that much help. But quite honestly, if you've made up a bottle for yourself, you could use it on your kids too. It's not a huge deal. I said I don't use rollers for everything. If I apply to skin, how do I do proper dilution for a one-time or so use? You use the same recipe no matter how many times you apply it. So if you're using this once a day or if you're using it 3 or 4 times a day, you still want to stick to the same dilution. Again, you can start out with a higher dilution and then over time you can cut it back. which might mean if you have a 10 ml roller bottle that you start off at a 10% dilution and it's been a couple of weeks and you're halfway done with a bottle, fill it up again with carrier. Then you have a 5% dilution roughly, and you can do it that way. What exactly will it do to scars? It will fade them. Yes, it can fade them. It can soften them. It can make them totally disappear. It helps the skin to regenerate and to knit together as it's healing. Old scars will fade. They will disappear. There have been people in the group saying, I love your recipe. And this is not the first time I've shared this recipe. If you go to usingeosafely.com/scaraway or learningabout.eos.com/scaraway, I've been sharing this for a while now. And so I know it is effective. Oh, you thought you meant that I don't mix a blend up in a roller, I just apply from the bottle. Sorry, no. Yeah, no. Well, it depends. Like this pre-diluted one, I'll just drip this right on my skin. If I have a bruise or whatever, then yeah, you can just do a couple of drops from that and that's fine. For scars, I do like to have it in a roller bottle because it's probably something you're going to be using over time. So you want it kind of already done and ready for you. Or, I mean, yeah, you can totally just use this and you can drip that on too. That's totally fine, whatever you want. Just know that this is between a 3 and 5% dilution, which could be good for many scars. If you want to up the dilution, then you'll have to make up a roller bottle or some other mixture.
Ooh, shaving legs. That's a good question. Did you see that question, Leah? Is Healy good for an open or fresh wound like shaving legs?
Yes, it can be, yes. Yep, I missed the question, sorry. What carrier do I use for scars in the roller? Tamanu is a really, really great carrier for skin healing. I would suggest Tamanu or rosehip oil. That's another one that I would suggest. Honestly, you can use anything, but I think those two are probably a leg up for helping with scars. And that's actually what I suggest. Go ahead.
I think there are some oils that have, different vitamins in them too. I'm thinking,
Yep.
Oh, I can't think off the top of my head, but certain oils. Yeah.
Carrier link. And if you control F, which means you're finding text on the page and you type scars, there's probably a couple that you'll hit for scars. For some reason, my browser's slow.
I know, so mine's doing it too. Somebody asked about using vitamin E as a carrier oil earlier, and while you wouldn't use it by yourself, this would be a great place to add it to your carrier oil and your Healy for scars and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah, I wouldn't use it alone, yeah, but in addition to, would be fine. So I guess wrinkles is the last recipe that I have to share. And that is basically a 1% dilution if you're using it on your face, which I'm going to assume. If you're using it on other parts of your body, then 2% is good. 1% is really good for face though. And that's basically adding 6 drops of Helichrysum per ounce of facial cleanser, moisturizer, lotion, or liquid foundation, whatever you are using, and just apply it as you normally would. You can add 6 drops per ounce. That will give you 1% dilution. You can add Helichrysum to hydrosols if you want, and you can use it after you cleanse your face at night and spritz it on your face, and then add your moisturizer. You could totally do that as well. Which one do I recommend? I recommend Helichrysum Metallicum, honestly. I think it does have a little bit of a boost over the Splendidum from my research. I do not have personal experience comparing the two of them, but from all the research that I've done, I would go for the Metallicum. I know the Splendidum is a little bit more cost-effective to purchase and to use, but I know we mentioned earlier, Eden's Garden has the Metallicum, the 5 ml for only $39.95, which for Helichrysum is really super good, really super good. And a 5 ml will generally hold, a 5 ml bottle generally holds around 100 drops. So you're going to get a lot of uses out of that. So honestly, I mean, I would just go for the Metallicum. Really, I would hold out for that one. I would. It just really, it has extra oomph and power that the Splendidum doesn't quite have. And that's not to say the Splendidum is not effective at all. It obviously is therapeutic. But, my personal preference would be for the Metallicum. So speaking of Eden's Garden, Helichrysum, the next thing I have to mention is if you go to the link that Daphne just shared, at the bottom, if you scroll past all of those recipes and things that we shared tonight, wow, an hour and a half, guys, an hour and a half. I'm not surprised because this totally rocks. Helichrysum is awesome. Anyways, you scroll to the bottom, you can enter to win a 5 ml bottle of Eden's Garden Helichrysum, and it's the Italicum. And you can use the Rafflecopter widget to enter to win that bottle. So this giveaway will be open all week long. It will end Saturday at midnight, and then I will announce the winner sometime on Sunday. So thank you, yes. And I am going to give away to anybody who sticks around for another few minutes. Open for Canadians also. That's a really great question. When you know, they are generously donating that 5 ml bottle of Helichrysum, and I did not take into consideration the shipping for outside of the U.S. But you go ahead, enter to win. If you do get chosen and you're out of the U.S., then we can probably work something out. So go ahead and enter anyways. So wow, so does anybody have any questions about Helichrysum before I give away right now a copy of my book to somebody? Somebody who's been listening, because I'm probably going to scroll through these and pick something that I've mentioned to see if anybody knows the answer to and see who's been paying attention. Let's see, what can I pick?
People have been asking questions faster than we can. This is so much better than last week. Last week was so awkward.
Yes.
It was just crickets.
Yeah, this, I have to say, has been the best. Because with Clove, we were so pressed for time. We had like 23 minutes. And then we had that other giveaway. That was a mess.
I'm having so much fun tonight, guys.
Yeah. So I need somebody to tell, okay, if you want to win my book right here. If you want to win this, I need you to tell me the following. Who is this not safe for? Helichrysum is not safe for who? Cats, you got it. Whoa, 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 whoa,
whoa, whoa.
Oh,
They all know.
I totally, wow, you guys are listening, aren't you? Yay.
So cool.
Hooray for paying attention. Did anybody catch who that first person was? Because my thing is scrolling. Like I said, I cannot scroll up and see who that is.
Carly SL.
Okay. So Carly, please either PM me on Facebook or email me, Leah Harris, ueos@gmail.com, and email me, and I will attach a PDF version of my book for you. So congratulations, and congrats to everybody else who was paying attention.
I know,
awesome.
That was amazing.
You guys are like whammo. So for those of you who want this, this is $5.99, normally $9.99 until midnight. And where is my thing? So if you want to purchase it, you can type this in. And this is basically, it's a link to PayPal that it tells PayPal who to send it to and how much. So that's a $5.99. Or you can just go to PayPal and you can see my screen. And you can use using EOS safely at gmail.com, and you can mail $5.99. Oh, thanks, Stephanie. You can do it that way too, but that's only good till midnight. So, does anybody have any questions? This was really awesome. Let me just check my notes really quick to see if I forgot anything that I wanted to say.
Sandy wants to know what's next.
I was just going to say that. I just saw my notes and I'm like, oh, I have to mention what's next for next week. Next week, I am so excited about this. I'm so excited. Next week, we will be learning about anti-congestion blends, and I will be sharing my original. I'm so excited. I'm like talking in caps over here. I will be sharing my original family safe for families, safe for children, anti-congest recipe. So you will definitely want to be here next week, same time, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And like I have for Helichrysum, I will also have a page where you can find the recipe and everything for that. So yes, now this is actually, I love my original anti-congestion blend too. totally awesome. But I found an even better one, I think. Now, at least this will be better for those of you who really miss that eucalyptus aroma, and it uses Fregonia essential oil. So I will tell you more about it next week, but
yes. I just ordered Fregonia. I think this is going to be good for nighttime, guys. I'm so excited about this one. I cannot wait to try it.
It is so awesome.
Aromatic ships it. It's here by next week. I'm so excited.
Yes. Have something for adults only. There's really no need. This is powerful and effective enough for adults, yet it's safe enough for children too. Certainly, I could probably give alternatives if you really insist on using eucalyptus. Go for it. You know, swap the Fregonia out with eucalyptus. If you want to use peppermint, go for it. So I'll have a couple of variations for you for that. So yes, I have my note. Thank you. I will definitely fix that clove link. So thank you everyone for coming. Somebody had a question about clove. You can go ahead and ask me here. You're welcome. I'm so glad. This was really, really fun. We had almost 700 people watching, and over 50 of you were active, and that is really, really awesome. This was really, really fun. So you guys have made it so fun. If you're watching the replay, I will be on Periscope tomorrow at noon Eastern Standard Time. Thank you. It's the best part of Sunday. Oh, that's so sweet. If some of you came in at the end and you didn't hear everything, I will be on Periscope. It can only be me on Periscope tomorrow at noon, and we'll be doing this again. So, and this will be on YouTube. Periscope will end up being on YouTube. If you have any questions, then, so yeah, I'm going to go ahead and pause recording. So thank you, everybody. It was so exciting.
Bye.